Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, in the past, present, or future, wherever and whenever you are. Welcome to another scene of the Living World of Darkness, Changeling, and Werewolf venues. Rage across the dreaming! So, today we find ourselves with another Charles and Bailey scene. Charles has, after a few back and forth text messages about whether or not he's going to pick up his goddamn Dodge Neon, he's finally making his way over to Bailey's Winnebago, where the two vehicles are standing, and he's tired, more tired than well, he's been pretty much used to this at this point. At the very least, now, despite the fact of his weariness and how much it's been getting to him, he's at least got this compounded understanding of his current condition, and not only that, but a better understanding of what these nightmares actually mean. There isn't so much a fear of these nightmares or what they're telling him anymore, but having to go through them every night is still tiresome, exhausting. The intensity fluctuates every so often, and now the fluctuation's gotten bad, but holding on to that kernel, that knowledge, that truth of what these things mean has kept him stable. Still, bags under his eyes, he makes his way over to the Dodge Neon before standing right between the Winnebago and that strange rusted over truck on cinder blocks that she keeps, that he remembers Bailey almost like worshiping in a strange way, in the way she gave respect to it. Strange things. And doesn't forget about his own suspicions, but seems weird. Doesn't really connect in his thoughts of what things could be. But he rubs his eyes for a moment and he pats the roof of Carson very gently. Oh, Carson, good to see you again. Hopefully this time around I won't be scratching your paint. Sort of takes a look at the area where he swiped it. Yeah. This time I'll make sure I won't be doing too much damage to you.
Bailey is in her Winnebago. It is fairly quiet. She probably does not realize Charles is there yet. So it may take a moment for her to come out to the Dodge Neon.
Well, Charles continues to have a little bit of a conversation with it. With Carson. But eventually, the conversation gets a little, it's a little one-sided. So eventually the conversation goes where he finally pats the roof of it. Is like, I'll be back soon. And he goes over to to the Winnebago's door and takes a deep breath, rubs his eyes, and knocks on the door.
It opens fairly quickly because at that point, like, hearing him talk to the car, she eventually was like, oh, well, fuck. And so she opens it very quickly. Charles, would you like to come in?
Sure. That'd be lovely. Thank you. And he's sort of looking at her because he's not unused to these reactions these days, especially since he's dropped from, being I'm ungodly beautiful to just being, ho-hum. Ho-hum app 4.
Would you like something to drink? I think I have some ginger ale or like a couple of root beers or something. Don't want to give you anything alcoholic before you drive,
Of course not. I don't think drinking would be appropriate. Although ironic that you mentioned both of those things, and they're non-alcoholic with booze tags on them.
Yeah. Well, I don't like to drink too much caffeine. It gets me all sorts of worked up.
I'll take a ginger ale.
Great. Just a second. And she like walks to the front of the Winnebago, and you hear like her opening up like a cooler.
Mm.
She retrieves cans and the sliding around of some other things as well.
Mm.
Sorry, I must have tripped over my tool bag. Don't mind the noise. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. He says, and he smiles. And that smile that's just a little too sharp as he takes it. How are you doing, Bailey? Is everything all right? You seem a little off put.
She just kind of like cocks her head and looks at Charles and opens her root beer. I'm perfectly fine, Charles. How have you been?
He sort of rubs his eyes for a moment. Well, I would say I've had worse days. But I just same thing that as I mentioned the last time we had a chat here. Bad dreams.
Those dreams where you were passing judgment on individuals and the like. Those bad dreams.
He nods.
Seem to be taking a real toll on you.
Well, it's rather annoying if that's the only thing you're seeing every night these days. At the very least, I have a better. You know how when people say that they say there's symbolism in the dreams, and there's obviously meaning. Like teeth falling out isn't just teeth falling out; it means something else, something about anxiety and stuff like that. I think I've narrowed it down, but what do you know? Maybe I've got it all wrong. They haven't quite gone away.
I'm sure they too will pass.
As all things do. So kids will look at Bailey because, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely her behavior is definitely matching like those people there. It's like, oh, it's an odd change, like very sudden, sharp. But I don't know if she's like looking at him particularly like even more strangely than most.
She definitely has that like sort of level squint where like it's it's very much in the looks of she's trying to figure out what she's looking at. And she doesn't like that she has to figure out what she's looking at. You don't have to roll for that. It's pretty readable.
Yeah.
She's not trying to hide it.
Everything all right?
Not quite sure, Mr. Egar.
Oh. And he puts his ginger ale there, and he sort of folds his arms, and he folds it back. It's Mr. Egar now, is it?
Do you have some name that I should be calling you otherwise?
Well, you've been calling me Charles or Charlie or Chuck quite often. I'm just wondering where the formality is coming from.
Well, those names have a certain amount of familiarity about them. when you assume you know what you're dealing with. But my perhaps I'm being simple-minded here, but things seem slightly askew, Mr. Eager.
He sort of gives her his own level sort of stare for a moment. Well, Bailey, please tell me what you feel is amiss.
Oh, I think you know what's amiss. I think you know real well what's amiss. Unless you are as stupid as I may have joked before, but I don't know. We've had conversations. You quote my favorite poet. Who exactly are you?
That's an interesting question because if you asked me that 2 months ago, I probably would have had a clear answer for you. These days, I'm not quite so certain. Think of it as an evolving journey, but he sort of looks at her. And he gives a sort of smile. You can still call me Charles. It's simpler that way. But depending on how this conversation goes, he says as he tilts his head again, because it's very much like another one of those things. It's like Rebecca almost, but now he has an idea that this is someone who isn't human. He's had this suspicion for a while, but maybe depending on how this conversation goes, maybe we'll be able to. Maybe I can tell you what others might call me.
Others.
Hmm.
She kind of leans back, not in a relaxed way, but in a sort of clearing the table if she needs to move quickly, sort of way. How many others are like you? What exactly is going on with you? And she indicates his face with a waggle of her finger. All of this here.
He sort of rubs his face. He thinks for a moment. And he looks out at the vehicle outside. When we first met, I was there for that car. Told you it was my friend's car. I failed in protecting her. I failed in saving her life. I felt powerless, and I now recognize what I was doing as grieving. I did what I felt was something to protect myself, something to make myself feel powerful and strong, that I wasn't going to allow anything like what happened to her happen to anyone else, because I could be something potent.
Mm-hmm. What are you?
And he smiles. I'll tell you if you confirm one thing for me, so long as you promise not to rip my head off. Or bash it in with that crowbar, he says, as he sort of looks around to make sure it's not around.
Is this going to be one of those weird little pinky promise moments?
And he shakes his head. No. I think it's just a simple bit of quid pro quo. I tell you what I am, you tell me what you are. As simple as that. Or rather, just a confirmation, as I've had a suspicion for a little while.
Common as mud. Fucking Bailey Dean. I live in a goddamn Winnebago. What do you need to know about me?
Because people shy from you differently. Your Winnebago works a little too well for its condition. You pay a great deal of respect to that truck out there, he says. And he's using his words very carefully, unlike not to be insulting to it because, it's a sense of worship. And I felt something that night before I sang to the moon. I felt that sensation.
She gives sort of a sniff. She doesn't really pick up on what she's worried about. I rolled just to make sure she doesn't botch, but I mean, you don't have the scent of worm on you, so.
Yeah.
But she's still giving him that, like, very narrow-eyed, suspicious look. If you got so much figured out about me, why do you need my promises that I'm not going to hurt you?
Well, personally, I'd like to keep a conversation going rather than letting it devolve into something ugly.
Do you deserve to be hit with that crowbar?
I'm sure some would believe I would be very much deserving of it. I don't think so. And it's up to you whether you, and it'll be up to you after this conversation is done, whether you believe I do.
She looks over at her tool bag. Back at Charles, she stands up. She goes to the tool bag, unzips it, pulls out the crowbar, and she's not like running at him or anything malicious. She's just standing there, kind of looking at the crowbar. And back at Charles. This crowbar. This is the crowbar you want me to not smash your head in with.
He's looking at it. No. He's just looking at it right now because it's that uncertainty. He's not sure if they're. Personally, I'd rather you not hit me with anything, but yes, that crowbar.
She walks back from the little driver's area, pauses by the door. Yeah, sure. I promise I won't hit you with it. She shoves it in the door jamb, through the little screen door closing apparatus of the Winnebago.
Ah, there we go. Keep me in here until we're done.
Of course. After all, if you're so worried that I'm going to destroy you, then I better make sure that you don't go anywhere before I figure out if you need to be destroyed.
Fair enough. So, now that we've got that out of the way, it says, Garu?
Where'd you hear it?
Mutual associations. Ones that are very interested in building a relationship. To be honest, that wasn't my intention here, but since we're coming clean about certain things, might as well come clean about all bits of it. I would like you to still be my driving instructor. I really would. But I'll understand if after this conversation, or assuming I walk out of here in one piece, if you don't wish to continue that. I am. One of the fair folk.
Yeah, you're real good looking. But what does that have to do with anything?
I'm also a good cousin up in the hills.
But a shitty brother.
Shitty brother indeed. I also happen to be a kindly folk, although most would say I'm quite cruel. Though I believe most of what they would consider to be my kind would call us changelings.
So you're like one of those pixie things.
There are pixies, yes, but I'm no pixie.
All right, so what the hell are you?
I am she. I am one known as one of the Shining host.
So, Mr. Shining Host, why would a Garu want to hit you with a crowbar?
I'm not sure. He says as he's looking at her, why would a Garu want to hit me with a crowbar?
Well, you see, I have my concerns. You are a very attractive individual, but you were almost enchantingly so for as long as I've known you. And generally, when somebody's putting on a face to be something they're not, they got something nasty planned for you. I've dealt with a lot of two-faced individuals in my life, Mr. Iga. I'm not quite sure what your game is, but usually I'm the one making fools of somebody.
So you think I was trying to make a fool out of you?
I'm not quite convinced you weren't.
What I said was true, he says as he looks back out of the car. I was doing that for myself. I was trying to make myself feel strong again, something powerful again. But I realized that it wasn't conducive to actually experiencing my loss and understanding it and moving on. If you'd prefer, I could go right back to it.
Oh, more trickery. So I'm distracted by your pretty looks instead of how angry I am. I'm pretty good at distracting myself if you feel so inclined.
Well, as I said, I could do it if you want. I'm not just doing it right without your permission.
Nah, you stay true to yourself. Is this yourself? I mean, you say you're, what was it, fair folk? You look like a human. You smell human.
He sort of takes a moment and he sort of smells himself. I have been rather human recently. Hold on, he says. He takes out a phone for a moment and says, Just he sort of stares at it for a moment. Nah, I have 3 days, he says as he so he sort of puts his he sort of looks over something, like he scrolls over something in the phone, and he looks at it and he goes like, and he nods over it basically before he puts it back into his pocket. Do you want to see?
Sounds like a trick question.
He smiles for a moment. He's like, you don't believe me. You believe I'm mostly human. Yet, at the same time, you believe it's a trick. I'll stand right here. I won't move. Not towards, not away. I'll stand right here.
All right.
All right. Let me look up and look in the weird real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Glamour and willpower. Okay. And then I roll my permanent glamour. Say against the area's ambient banality, or the character's banality, whichever is higher.
I think it's just standard.
Okay, so, but the question is, does the nightmare roll apply? Does the nightmare apply? Probably
For invoking
the weird. Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, it's not a skill. It's a
It's magic.
Magic.
It's magic. Okay. Okay. And with that, let's roll 10 fucking dice for 3 successes. Thank God. Okay. And so Charles's visage changes. It's something stretches. The skin sort of cracks and it peels away, and it's like think the idea of it's like the best way I can put it is think like a clay jar or something like that. Suddenly there's like a crack appears right through the face, right through the eyes, and then things just sort of crack, and then fall away piece by piece as vines of ivy start sprouting out, and the pieces that is Charles falls away, and what's replacing Charles? Something else, something far more intense, as it's just falling piece by piece away into, ultimately, Kararis right there with his diamond fangs, his ivy hair, his marble skin, and that smile that's far too wide.
During this,
and you might want to roll a willpower.
Yeah, during this process, like you're getting pretty much snarling from Bailey.
You do have to roll your willpower at diff 8 against his thing, but
yeah, no, I am. I have to look up the willpower for a second.
The willpower. Come on, Bailey. You can do it. Diff 8. It's not that hard.
Yeah. The dice roller hates Bailey, by the way. Oh, 1 success.
1 success. That's enough to keep her from being frozen for 4 turns.
4 turns?
Yeah.
We roll an initiative.
No. That's just the fucking she blessing. So
fucking she.
Doesn't mean it's not overwhelming, but it's still something quite potent. As he's that app 7 doesn't hold a candle to whatever's happening here.
Her body language switches from like the kind of like just like the kind of cautious, like tense to almost very animalistic sort of mannerism at the moment. She's kind of like leaned back, like to the point where it's like you can tell her leg muscles are tensed and ready to like run. Her hands are like not balled up, but like almost claw motion at her side as she's like snarling at this transformation. And what is this I'm looking at?
You're looking at me.
What happened to the other guy?
Oh, the other guy's still here. Charles is still here. But if you want this name, it's Kararis, keeper of the diamond word.
You always been like this?
I have. Charles has not.
So you're like a skinwalker then?
That's a nice way to put it. Nicer than what most people say, anyway.
Oh yeah, it's real nice, buddy. You want to roll a P&E on what she just...
Yeah. I will do that. Or perception psychology, even if that's fine. It might be E. It's fine. I don't really care.
Just kind of determining the kind of inflection she says skinwalker with, I guess.
One success.
It's pretty derogatory.
Maybe not then. Maybe what you think of skinwalker is something what I think is different. And no, he hasn't moved an inch from his spot or his position.
So what are you doing here?
Living.
Oh yeah. Who do you serve?
Who do I serve? I serve the people of New York.
Oh, I'm sure they absolutely love that. But who do you serve?
He sort of looks at her for a moment and he sort of tilts his head. That one I'm going to P&E again because that's a very interesting question. Or maybe psychology. I don't know. It could be either.
Well, whatever you want.
Okay.
I will give you an answer based on what you're...
2 successes.
Okay.
Actually, 3 if psychoanalysis works, but...
She is not asking a like blanket level like a lower level question. Like she's not like asking who your boss is or like what your job is. This is more of a like philosophical type question she's posing you.
And he sort of gets there and he thinks for a moment and he thinks to dice what he's saying and what this path is supposed to be, who they're supposed to serve. And he sort of takes a moment, those stained glass window eyes staring at her for a long moment. And he smiles. He says, I serve the dreaming.
Like the nightmares you've been having, those kind of dreams, or
Nightmares are dreams, Bailey, but they're not the only dreams.
you say my name weird.
Why do you think? Why is it weird?
Just that pause you say right before you say it, like someone trying to get a beat on me is how it feels. Like when your mom gets mad at you and she calls you by your full name. You're only saying my first name, but it feels like you're saying my full name, and I don't like it.
Names are important, Bailey. Names are what we are.
Names change.
Not all of them do.
The important ones do.
You don't think of yourself as Bailey.
Oh, I know I'm Bailey. But who I am, what others call me, my important name, the name of what I've done, that ain't Bailey.
Something important and precious.
Yeah, real cute like.
And he just sort of folds his fingers together at that moment. And he just stares at her and is like, that's up to you if you wish to tell me it. I'm not going to ask.
What'd you say the name of this face was of yours?
Cararis.
And how many people you tell this name to?
Not many. Honestly, I like being called Charles most these days.
Why is that? Isn't Charles just the face you wear or something? Wouldn't it be kind of like me calling myself Jacket?
Once upon a time, it would have been like calling myself Jacket. I'm not quite so sure anymore. There's a lot of things that have changed since I've come here. No, Charles is just simpler. Simpler to remember, less problematic. How many Cararises do you know in the street?
I don't know how many out there are like you. Met a crew the other day. They all seem to know who the fuck you were.
Oh, I'm sure they had nothing but lovely things to say about me.
Lots of stuff about looking past your looks.
He just sort of opens his hands out.
Sounded like they were trying to give me a warning. Do I need to be warned about you? Do I need to give you a warning about me?
Do you feel like you need to warn me about you?
I don't know, Mr. Egar. Do you think that I should come with a warning label?
I think people should be people. I think that we should have conversations and we should discover each other through wondrous conversation. Not because of the labels we slap on each other.
What do you know about conversation?
We're having it right now.
I think what we're having here is some sort of expose, as you tell me that you're some sort of alien creature, fairy cousin from another world, and I have to decide if You're going to be leaving the Winnebago tonight.
Well, I could stay here all night, if that's what you want. We could talk, or you can decide to end the conversation. Up to you. After all, this is your home. This is your place. I am at your mercy, at your hospitality.
You say that like it's not a fucking concern of yours. Why isn't it a concern of yours?
No, it's a great concern, Bailey. It's a very great concern because I am making sure I am at least being as respectful as possible in your home. I'm answering your questions. I'm revealing myself to you. I am not moving from the spot as I said I would not, and placing myself at your mercy, and not trying to run past you or break a window to get out.
Yeah, all of that, all of those things you described, they ain't exactly putting me at ease. It's, I am obeying the rules that I laid down for myself. But there may be secret rules that you don't know about. And it's always the fucking secret rules that are gonna burn you, you know?
That is indeed the secret rules.
So what are your secret rules here? You say you know what I am. Why aren't you afraid?
Because we've had so many conversations before now. I think it's just ultimately wonderful to finally be able to get this all out in the air.
Don't pee any of that. God, Bailey, get more empathy.
Bailey, god damn it. I'm at least rolling a diff 8, Jesus Christ.
1 success.
He's curious. He is actually very intrigued.
She's just sort of like doing like that head tilt where you like lean in and then you like lean back a bit, squint a little. It makes me wonder about your intelligence. That you aren't more nervous about what I am. Tell me, Mr. Carraris. You say the name Garu. But do you actually know anything about Garu?
No. I know very little. I know that it's associated with the W word, but I'm not going to invoke that. I know literally very little. I know enough that their presence will send most people to be spooked. But I know literally nothing. Nothing else beyond that.
And how do I know that if I confirm your suspicions, that you ain't gonna go running your mouth to every Tom, Dick, and Fairy out there?
There's only one in concerned that has made an effort to state that I should be getting in communication with all of you, with the Garu.
And who is this individual?
Someone who has put me in contact with one of your people.
Which people?
Does a Mr. Monday mean anything to you?
Doesn't ring a bell, actually, no.
Shame. Means it's definitely an alias.
There's a lot of people around here. I'm not so good with names. How important do you think I am?
He just sort of shrugs.
Wild guess it.
Sort of thinks for a moment, his marble finger tapping against that marble cheek. I honestly don't have a clue about how that's however you determine standing or importance. I believe you'd find yourself to be very. I think you think yourself to be very, well, your own well-being to be very important.
It's not so much my own well-being. You're walking around saying Garu like it's a day of the week or something.
Honestly, you're the first person I've said Garu to.
See, you say that, but I have absolutely no guarantee about that.
Oh, it's such a shame you couldn't just read my mind or make me spill truth, he says as he sort of rubs his eyes. Oh. He rubs his eyes a little bit more.
I have no idea what that's a reference to.
Hold on. What do you want as a token of my sincerity?
I don't know. Some sort of failsafe. You tell me something that if you screw me over, you screw over my people, then you'll be held accountable.
Fair enough. One moment, he says. And he pulls out that cell phone again. My boss usually wants me to make sure that I inform him of something before I do something that he would consider to be a benefit or a threat to the to his dominion, to the people of New York. If you want, you can read. If you want, you can read over my shoulder.
All right.
And he puts, and he has this. This message is being read by one of the individuals that you told me to get into contact with. I am going to reveal a personal secret of mine so that they understand that I am, so that I can be held accountable should I try to attempt to screw them or their people over. They are reading over my. I think that was mentioned in the first line. That's like as I stated before. This message is being read. I am going to reveal to them and he sort of stops for a moment and he thinks. He thinks for a long moment because there's a lot of things there. And then he types. I am going to reveal to them my what's that shit? My living address is not exactly the most valuable. Well, it actually could be quite valuable, actually, but I'm going to reveal to them my living address, and I'm going to reveal to them what I have done to certain unscrutable members of the criminal community during my service in the 32nd Precinct.
Feels weird. I don't know what the protocol is for doing like ST stuff.
I know.
During a scene.
I know, but yeah. I'm just him. He's letting him know. He's saying, hey, this is what I'm about to do.
I mean, I guess assume the general like permissively owned stuff because pretty much it is I will give you a certain amount of leeway kind of thing.
Yeah. And he's also putting this as I'm trying to build a relationship here as you told me to do so.
Yeah. So, you're like it is an alignment with the NPC and not to benefit this character if somebody is watching.
Yeah.
The contract is to allow him a certain amount of leeway.
And he hits send. And he puts it in his pocket. 32nd A of the was it the Woolman building or something along those lines? Woolworth. 32nd floor of the Woolworth building, number A. That's my that's my location. That's my room. I don't intend to be leaving that room for quite a while, at the very least, especially since a certain degree of damages have been done to it. He says he sort of like there's a weird mixture of like pride and bitterness. Now, as to what I have done in the 32nd Precinct. I work very closely with a individual. My handler, at least at the time, and I'm sure she's going to be my handler again. Actually, I don't know if he's actually in the 32nd Precinct now. Whatever. You know what? It's weird. Time's weird. Officer Mallory Grant. My handler works at the SVU. I deal with, she often would call me to, and I'm sure she will in future, call me to deal with individuals of a particular nature, mental, physical, sexual abusers, those kind of individuals, trying to discover the crimes, help them get a confession out of them. Some do. Some confess. Most of them break. Still others have taken their lives.
And have you taken any of their lives, Mr. Kararis?
He smiles. I never took any of their. I never laid a finger on them.
That's not what I asked.
They made the choice themselves.
Did you convince them to make that choice?
I definitely nudged them in the right direction.
So you're one of the manipulative types.
Mm. And if this were to get out, it'd ruin my career. Certainly would have put me up in jail. The criminal psychologist who pushes these criminals, albeit as much as they deserve, every last ounce of what they deserve, to death, doesn't quite go well with a justice system, does it?
Yeah. Yeah. That might be something.
And you have a name, someone who knows me, who works closely with me, always setting them in the right direction. Should I screw you over?
Kararis, if you screw me over, I won't be sending anybody in your direction but myself.
Ah, yes. You and, and he sort of looks at the crowbar. Betsy over there?
It's just a tool. I don't give that thing a name.
It's a shame. All things have names.
Oh, of this I am sure. It's a crowbar. That's its name. Crowbar. Crowy the crowbar, if you must be formal about it.
Well, then, you and Crowy can certainly come heading my direction.
I don't need a crowbar to take care of you. You seem so certain about yourself. So pleasantly bemused as you sit here and tell me all about talking people to their death.
I told you my secrets, as you asked, something to ruin me. Something that if you decide to, that if you feel that I'm screwing you over on something, you can take out.
What are your intentions?
With you or with your people?
People first, and if you have special intentions for me, then by golly, you better follow it up with it.
He smiles. For your people, I'm going to be offering the services of myself and our entire community in alliance with yours. consecrating old pacts, old bargains long forgotten, but not by us. And
To what end?
That I do not know. I don't know what all our agreements are. I'm sure that my conversation will be with Mr. Monday will be most enlightening. I didn't know you have cats. Sorry, that's the one here is meowing up a fucking storm.
Yeah, I made a bargain with something, and all of a sudden, nothing's scared of me anymore.
Mm.
She's still looking at him and waiting for him to finish.
Now with you, I was very much looking forward to a lovely drive and more conversations.
You think I'm stupid or something?
Do you think I am?
She pauses and just... I don't know. Perhaps you know something, like the Venn diagram of things to be intelligent about. Perhaps we don't have a whole lot of overlap, you and I.
His face sort of falls a bit. I see.
I'm not saying that you're stupid, but what you know is probably different from what I know.
That may be very true.
There's a lot of stuff in this world. So perhaps the general assumption that it would take a simpleton to not learn how to drive a car late into the 30s was a hasty opinion to make.
Well, he says as he folds his arms. It is fair.
So, you say you want to help the Garu. Have you ever seen us?
And he's looking at her and he's just like, well, I'm confirming that I'm talking to one now. I don't know what else to look for or...
Well, you
what?
mentioned the W word.
I also was informed that it's often quite rude.
Oh, well, I'm very rude. Kararis.
Ah, then you're mine kind of people.
Perhaps so.
So you're wishing to show me yours? Is that exactly what this is?
If you're gonna help out my people, you have to manage to not actually be afraid of my people. After all, we're an intense lot.
Fair enough.
And to make sure you don't have to roll anything, since I have to roll not to be entranced by you and all that shit.
Well, you already did that roll. It's only once, so...
Yeah. No, because seeing, like, if she shifts into full fucking Krynos, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
I can't help myself. Look at him. Look at him.
Let's see.
Excuse me.
Delirium effects.
Just
right,
rage.
so-
Just fucking rage.
Fucking rage. Yeah, go into a goddamn frenzy. No, frenzy. Nah, it doesn't look like you have to roll anything.
Especially if you're taking your time with it.
Yeah, and she just sort of like clicks her jaw a bit. You may want to step back a little. Not to sound like I'm being suggestive with your delicate whatever this is, but you can sit on the bed. It's at the far end of the whinny.
Very well. With your permission, I shall move from this spot, he says as he moves.
Please stop acting so fucking weird. As he sits.
Oh, that's a real tall order. Please stop acting so weird. Oh, honey.
As he sits down, there's like a small like journal that he'll that like is under him. That he can move out of the way, but yeah, it's a very small thing. And she like rolls her shoulders back and like slowly she starts shifting, and she's like, as she goes through the various stages, at first, you know, she looks just a little more Neanderthal-esque than anything. As she goes through the first stage. And
I'm just going to make my one roll here just to get it out of the way. Oh, yeah, it's at diff 6 because of my fucking thing. Yay!
Yay!
2 successes. Yay!
What?
I don't give a shit.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Just like, oh, that was interesting. Good show. Good show.
Good show. Good show.
No, I'm just kidding. That would be 5. Anyway. It's just like, are you fucking mocking me?
As she, anyway, so she continues, as she shifts, she also continues to grow. Until she is pressed up against the ceiling of her Winnebago. I should probably roll her rage for that, actually, considering she is claustrophobic and now much bigger in a smaller space. What is the phases of the moon, by the way?
The moon, it's a little past half moon, so probably gibbous, I think. The moon! This is how Charles dies, sitting on a bed.
Ooh, scandalous.
Oh my.
Again, she cannot frenzy, so it's really just seeing if she
loses her shit.
Yeah. Where's the damn moon chart?
It's a waxing gibbous.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to find what the difficulty is for the...
I think it's 4?
No, that's full moon.
Oh, yeah, it's 5 then.
Okay.
Because...
Oof. She is not happy. I mean, she's not frenzying, but she is not happy.
I'll show you, Charles. I'll show you. Fuck!
I mean,
I'm sorry.
enjoy.
Yeah. Soon.
The last time I used this, I like threw on like a fake mustache on her too. Because Bailey's extra. We have to wear disguises.
The
but
fucking
yeah,
like extended big fat nose with glasses.
But anyways, this gigantic wolf monster in front of you seems to be hyperventilating.
Yeah, let me roll my psychology on that one.
Mm-hmm.
That one I definitely can. Perception psychology. Come on, roll good for me, baby. 2 successes.
I mean, yeah, something is making her wicked uncomfortable. There's a certain amount of like nervousness and panic to her body movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with 2 successes, yeah. Something has in this process has shifted her comfort level. It's probably something. It's 2 successes. Not gonna get a full psychological profile on her.
Nope. 2 successes. It's not enough to tell. I don't know if it's the transformation that's making her anxious. Something else. What exactly is making her anxious? Something's anxious about this. But yeah, he's raises an eyebrow at that one. And he doesn't move from his bed, but he's watching to make sure she doesn't, like, completely flip.
Let me roll her willpower to see if she can calm the F down.
Mm-hmm. Not. It might be interesting for Charles to play the fucking psychologist.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got this. She's got this.
It's not a quick process by any stretch of the imagination, but she like sits down on the floor and just puts up a very large hairy hand with one finger up, like, wait a second.
Wait a second.
Forget how small it is in this stupid place. And she
probably in Karu, which he has no idea what that is. One day, Charles, you'll speak fluent Garu, and then they'll murder you.
But she holds up the finger. Growly speak for a moment, but she takes a deep breath, and like it just seems to go in reverse a little bit faster than the growing. She just sort of sits on the floor and just sort of like sprawls out on the floor and takes a couple of deep breaths as she just like and like she spreads out her arms to make sure she can't like actually touch both walls.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to roll your perception psychology again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Nope. Actually, no, wait. 1 success because it's psychoanalysis. There we go. So 1 success.
You might be able to piece that like the stretching out has something to do with why there's no furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Like stretching out seems like important to her catharsis at the moment. So she's.
Mm-hmm. Well, she was freaking out because she got big, and now she's stretching out and taking a moment to like assert, certain things.
She just like slowly rolls up from the floor. Sorry about that. I generally don't do that in the Winnie.
And he's sort of staring at her. I mean, he hasn't changed back Because this fucking thing lasts for a scene unless he wishes it to go away. He's staring at her for a moment. You didn't look comfortable doing that.
It's a little too snug in here, is all. Not a lot of breathing room.
So thinks for a moment. That might also lead to the certain thing of like not a lot of breathing room and her stretching out and stuff like that. That might get a certain click, 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 doom. That might be an intelligence one to make a diagnosis, but that's another story.
If you want to.
Yeah. I'll make that one. Let's see if Charles can make it. Charles, don't fail me now in your sleep-addled brain. 1 success.
Yeah, that claustrophobia is among the things. It could be general anxiety or, body dysmorphia, perhaps. But yeah, claustrophobia is definitely in the top 3 things that are coming to your mind.
Yep. Claustrophobia, anxiety. She doesn't seem particularly anxious to me. Body dysmorphia. Well, she did fucking transform, so so I'm going to put that in the top 2. Would you prefer to walk somewhere?
Yeah, actually. And
hold on a moment. He sort of closes his eyes and then almost like a mist passes over him as it starts to turn back into as it sort of molds itself back into Charles.
Do you do that a lot?
No.
I got to do this quite a bit. She says that as she gives a firm yank on the crowbar, and you hear some of the rust give way from the door. She picks it up. She's like, "Why are you scared of this thing exactly?"
And he sort of looks at it for a moment. Because I don't know if it can kill me.
Well, I mean, it's a crowbar.
He says he's just staring at it.
Should I keep this amongst my or on my person while dealing with people of your affinity?
If that'll make you comfortable.
I've never been too concerned about making people comfortable. What do I call you exactly?
Charles.
Right. Charles. I don't worry too much about making people comfortable because nobody's ever fucking bothered with making me feel comfortable, you know?
Why?
You know, I asked you how high on the totem pole you thought I was. I'm so low that the dirt covers me.
You're not ashamed by it, though.
Hey, I know what I am. I ain't trying to put on no fancy face to make myself feel bigger than whatever more important. I got a role. I got a job.
Hmm.
I'm gonna fucking do it well, you know?
He sort of considers that for a moment. Hmm.
One of those people that was talking to me about you. She says she like pushes open the door to the Winnebago.
Hmm.
They seem like they also got kicked around kind of. She made me some real weird drink. It was kind of minty.
He sort of stops at that one. MJ?
MJ Amber, I'm not exactly sure what her name was by the end of the night.
Hmm.
But the reason I bring this up is one of my dear friends is particularly fond of this individual. It seems fairly mutual, but should I be concerned?
And then he sort of considers that for a moment. MJ is who she is. Not a spirit that I intend to tame. Someone who I consider to be very. He sort of stops for a moment. As though trying to, like, grasp with something that he was about to say. She wouldn't go out of her way to hurt anyone. Unless they'd done wrong to her.
Well, that's a relief. I think. Maybe I'll start making sure Cammy takes a crowbar with her too.
Charles just sort of smiles. I'm glad to be opening these doors to new experiences.
Yeah. I'd have to say this is in like my top 28 weirdest experiences.
Oh, I'm only 28.
And maybe 27. But yeah.
The more I stay around here, the more I feel ordinary.
You feel ordinary. That is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. I don't even feel ordinary. And I'm as common as they come.
It's hard to explain.
Well, you're the one who likes conversation.
And he sort of looks at her and he goes, "Were you always like this? And then of course they're like out in public, like he doesn't say the word, but he sort of
No. I mean, yes, but no. Something happened that sort of kicked it into overdrive, I guess.
and then your world changed and you were shaped and you became something more than what you were.
Um, Oh, I mean, nah. Yeah, but nah. It's it's complicated. I don't know. It's somebody who's as fair as you probably wouldn't like the story.
Well, that goes to show just another strange gap. He says as he sort of like stares off as they're like, walking down the streets and stuff like that.
I was about 16 when my mom died.
Hmm.
And we lived in this real shitty trailer park on the it was like it was the kind of places like even the roaches are like, fuck this. Underneath the radio towers, kids getting cancer, and instead of healthcare plans, you hold a barbecue where everyone pays like $5 a plate so that you can take the kid to the doctor and be told when they're going to die. That kind of place. The kind of place where a 16-year-old girl who finds herself without a mother suddenly finds herself in the company of men who are willing to pay her rent. Are you catching my drift, Charles?
I've met plenty of young 16-year-olds who had plenty of men willing to pay the rent.
Well, I used to be a much more romantical sort, And I wasn't like hooking or nothing like that. But I definitely found myself in a situation where I was much more willing to forgive certain kinds of behavior for in exchange for making sure I kept a roof over my head. You know how I told you I don't put much stock in roofs over your head. Having a roof doesn't necessarily make it a home after all.
Mm.
Well, one of these fine, upstanding individuals had quite a bit to drink one night. And decided to test the structural integrity of his steel toe work boots on my abdomen and teeth. She pulls back her bottom lip and points to a gap, like between two of her molars.
Mm-hmm.
That's when things kind of took a turn for me,
That's when you decide you had enough.
Well, I didn't decide so much as something inside of me decided. And I just started laughing. Started laughing, and then things went red. And I can't say that it's been like, and then I lived happily ever after. Because that ain't exactly how this story works, Charles.
No, he says as he sort of looks over there. No. There's no neat end to any of these stories.
Yeah, and little girls who have to find creative ways to pay the rent certainly aren't getting picked up by no Prince Charmings looking to make their life more comfortable. I don't hide my story. Um, there are certain details that I will omit to varying degrees. But knowing what I am hasn't exactly made my life any easier. And it's not like we wake up and just know what we are. It's, we got to be taught a place. And I was taught my place.
What place is that?
Like I told you, I'm so low, I'm in the dirt. I'm low enough that even my friend, who I care about enough to ask you questions about her girlfriend about, feels comfortable, well, putting me in my place.
And Charles sort of looks at her. And there's there's that intense look from those blue eyes that she had seen so recently, those technicolored stained glass window eyes, alien sort of stare. But he's looking at her. Why?
Do your folks have any sort of rank structure?
That's been in contention recently, he says. He sort of smiles at that. But yes.
Ours is much less contested. If we're gonna have this talk, we should head back to the Winnie, though.
Fair enough. He sort of stares out there. Bailey?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you felt like I was kicking you around. That wasn't my intention.
I'm used to it, man. It's all right. You know, everything's kind of stupid in the long run, I suppose. I shouldn't have gotten so worked up over it, I guess.
Well, we're both people who have a lot of secrets, and those secrets come out. It leads to a heated discussion, but it's a conversation and it moves forward.
Yeah, everything moves forward, whether you're ready for it or not, you know? And I wish, never mind. But,
No, please go ahead.
like the aforementioned rank structure, things move forward. Hell, even I've moved forward. But, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like it goes too fast. Maybe I just feel kind of guilty. But not guilty enough to hold myself backwards, you know?
He sort of, as they're heading back to the Winnebago, he sort of stops. And he's looking at the Dodge Neon. I felt guilty. I actually felt it for shame, anger at myself for failing, for guilt for not realizing something I had before I lost it. Sort of runs his fingers along the roof of it. But I'm moving forward. And I can't feel guilty about that anymore, because all that's going to do is make me stuck. It's going to keep me in one place. And I can't be stuck in one place.
I can't.
What? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I can't stay in one place because if we get stagnant, everything starts to crumble.
And he nods as though he sort of like understands that very well. People think things need to be structured, that they should be the way they are, that the way things have been should always be. And you know, some things should at least remain stable. But everything else gets to be eddies and currents like in a river and flow around it, taking new shapes and spirals and depths. Some get to be those rocks in the river. Not everyone gets to be. And in time, even the rock wears it away.
Change is important, but it has to be the right kind of change. And like I said, I got a job to do. My job is to question things. And I'm pretty good at it. As you can imagine, those with a higher position may not be too pleased with how good somebody with my lowly status is at calling them out. But it's my job. Struck by someone for saying something wrong.
There's a very dangerous pause. And he smiles. Far too wide. He says, "No. I was struck because someone else was incompetent."
Hmm.
And then they weren't incompetent anymore.
Oh, you taught him to be better?
There's some illnesses where there's no cure.
You sure about that?
Or at least the cure requires a deeper solution.
Well, the way I look at problems is like this. Sure, things may be down, and it's the bottom of the 11th and other sports terms or whatever, but just because it doesn't look like you're going to win doesn't mean you give up. Gotta change things, even from those who don't feel like they need to be changed. Especially for those things that don't feel they need to be changed.
Well, I'm sure they're experiencing their change rather drastically.
Is it a change for the better?
I think a great many would say so.
Would those great many people be this individual's loved ones?
I don't think he was loved.
Oh, come on now. Everybody's loved by someone.
Well, unfortunately, I think the only one who did passed before them.
Well, I feel sorry for this individual then.
I think perhaps had they been around, things would have been a lot different.
Well, sorry you got smacked around. It's certainly a enlightening experience coming from a much stronger hand than your face is ready for.
It's certainly more startling and telling when it's someone who's of a weaker will, needs something to prove.
I don't know. Things are kind of different for us, I guess. Like I said, I got a job to do. People kind of expect it from me. But even though they expect it from me, doesn't mean that I'm not going to get a very physical version of their opinions on the matter.
There's a grimace.
You're uncomfortable with physicality?
It just... He sort of gives a grimace. I find it is something that is I find it's something that people resort to when they find they have nothing else to say.
That sounds a little contemptuous. You do realize that you're about to be dealing with the Garu. We are a very physical people. To be fair, the people we generally are physical against aren't really the talkative sorts.
And why are they not the most talkative?
Probably because they're batshit crazy.
Madmen have language, and you know how to talk, how to listen. But I'm having a feeling that you don't.
The Earth is our home, Charles, and there's a lot of things making us sick. And sometimes you just can't wait for the fever to pass on its own, you know?
So you're saying you have the medicine?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And as far as listening to what these individuals may have to say, listening to them is dangerous. If you're coming in to help the Garu, you need to trust us when we say that these aren't people you can talk to. There's not going to be some big peace summit between us and, well, I'm sure you'll see. I'm not saying violence is the answer to everything, but it is the answer to some things.
He's very quiet. His eyes are closed. He's taken in what she said. But he doesn't argue against her at this moment because he knows what he can do. But he's not going to tip his hand just yet. And he just... Well... Sounds like I'll be having a far more enlightening conversation with you and the rest of your people.
I'm sure they'll have you talk to someone of some importance.
Of course. Monday's the first day of the week. Very important day.
I still have no idea who Mr. Monday is, but yeah. It's a little concerning. I figured I'd met most of us in the area.
I think they were trying to start with a more higher up sort of thing before going through the entrenching ranks. I personally don't mind having conversations with people in all levels. But I think it was probably to try and avoid certain degrees of dissent or worry.
Mm. I'm sure that'll go over real well with the others.
Yes, I'm sure it will. He's sort of sarcastic about that.
How much do you know about wolf behavior?
Where's this fucking academics? Let me let's just roll as academics. I read about it in a book once. That's where the literature is not going to apply to this. My academics. Bare basics. Like, well, travel in packs. There's an alpha and a beta, I want to say.
Yeah.
Want to say usually mate the alpha and the beta is usually the male and the female. That depends on which is in charge. Usually they're the ones that mate for life.
Oh Lord, no. None of that.
Oh dear God, no! Not the one bit of the litany that we know for sure Bailey knows about.
No metis. No, she doesn't say that, but she's like, no, I do not sleep or mate with my alpha. Thank you.
Well, like I said, that was wolf behavior, not necessarily yours.
Well, there are some parallels. I am the beta of my pack. But we also have a certain rank structure. While I may be the beta of my pack, I do outrank my alpha. It is a very complicated situation. Most things are a little more cut and dry. So if you are meeting with this prestigious Mr. Monday, mind your P's and Q's. And sort of don't rub him the wrong way, you know? Not saying that you're abrasive or nothing. Just you have a certain dynamic to your personality that makes people a little on edge.
Oh, and I thought that was just part of my charm.
No, your charm is definitely all concealed within your looks. But you have your moments where there's a certain little less intensity to you. You're all right at skee ball, but don't waste Mr. Monday's time with any of that stuff. He's gonna want to know how you guys can help us.
He nods at that.
And bringing up my name ain't gonna get you no favors.
I wasn't considering mentioning that we had this discussion. As far as I'm sure Mr. Monday's concerned, I haven't met any of you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I prefer to let the higher echelons feel like they're the ones doing stuff anyways. Did you need me to take your car back to your garage for you, or
I figure we could drive.
all right. You gonna get in the passenger seat?
There smiles. No.
Cool.
Cool, Charles. Cool.
She says as she laments not buying a helmet. Do you have any other questions about my people or myself? Since this has been such an illuminating night, filled with revelations and unique discoveries.
There's probably going to be a lot of questions. The question I have most pertinent is, do you ever want to speak to me again?
Yeah. As long as you aren't gonna hurt my people, I don't mind your company so much. You ain't hard on the eyes. Little easier to look at in one face over the other, but if you feel so inclined to reveal your true nature, then I suppose I can accommodate there as well.
I'm gonna spend another willpower here because he's at least gonna focus on driving here. So just so much willpower this week, Charles. Jesus Christ. Good thing I've spent that willpower. So,
oh no, what'd you do?
it was only 0 successes, so one willpower made one success. He at least makes it back to Manhattan in
very
one
slowly.
piece. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna turn here.
Yeah. It's real fucking cute, Charles.
You're getting a little better. You
Eventually, I'll
managed to
actually
stay on
buy
the
that
road.
point.
Yeah. You managed to stay on the road after all. That's no small feat there. He like gives him a pat on the shoulder. So yeah, we can talk. Is it just because you're curious about poking me with a stick, or you trying to be friends or something?
And he sort of thinks for a moment. I'm not going to say I'm not curious, because that would be a lie. I am very curious. But, he says as he sort of looks at her, I would hate to put an end to the... He sort of pauses for a moment. To the... To... To the friendship we've been building.
All right, then. Yeah, I can make sure you don't kill yourself in your car, and I'll make sure to keep some ginger ale around.
That sounds good. Next time, he says, next time, before we go driving, he says he looks up at the building. Feel free to buzz me. We'll have you right up.
She looks up at the massive tower. I didn't even realize people lived in this thing.
Not many do.
Like an entire city could fit in this thing alone. She just sort of like shakes her head. Albus, be interesting to see what the inside of one of these places looks like, I guess. But
anything in particular that you like, or I should be aware of allergies?
nah, I'm not picky. You ever hear the phrase "beggars can't be choosers"?
Nods. All right.
Well, I got a turnstile to hop, so
You sure you don't want me to get you a taxi?
Yeah, I'm sure. I can handle my own. Thank you, though. It's been an interesting evening, Charles.
Say it's an evening neither of us were really expecting to go the way it went, Bailey.
Well, I hope that you get a good night's rest and um, that things go well with you and whoever the hell Monday is.
I'm sure whatever happens between Monday will go well. I'm not quite so sure about the sleep. That one's something to be worked on.
Well, I'm sure if you sing a song to the moon or something, sing to some sheep or I don't know. You got a real weird thing going on for you. I'm not going to pretend I understand it. But yeah, I'll see you. And she crosses the street and heads down to the subway tunnel and sort of just disappears into the streets as a street person that she is.
What?
What?
Crazy talk.
Common as F.
And Charles watches her go off, and before he pulls out his phone and he sends another text. Still alive. Headway being made. Looking forward to meeting up with Monday. Send. And he puts the phone back in his pocket before he sort of stares off into the night. Between the buildings, the clouds are coming and the moon's starting to rise. Friend. Our friendship. And he says as he mutters that to himself. It's getting easier to say or recognize that, I think. Maybe that's what dice meant. Maybe that's not something that just should be held on to. He sort of thinks about it for a moment and he just shakes his head, chuckles. But there's just some that aren't going to get that. And he starts walking into his space.
And I guess this is where we end our scene. So thank you, players, for playing.